Our property's largely been the guinea pig for the xDP program, and it's been an interesting ride, but I feel we're really starting to get somewhere now, and it's quite exciting. So what I want to do is just give you a very quick rundown on what our farming enterprise involves and some of the principles that we operate by and the challenges that we have with data and measuring data. Looking at also some of the sensors we already have working right now, and also looking into the future as to what sensors we think show a lot of promise for our livestock business. So we're at Delatite Station. We're at Mansfield in northeast Victoria. We run a family-owned property about 6,500 acres. It's all livestock, so it's 18,000 fine wool merino sheep and about 2,500 Angus cattle. It's my wife and I on the farm, and we have 3.5 full-time employees. It's quite a nice environment. It's quite high rainfall, but it can be challenging. It gets very cold this time of the year, and also very hot. When Christopher was down in late December, I think it was really, really warm. So it is a challenging environment. So the role of technology on the farm. This is a shot I took the other day. That's the tower that you saw before. It's a pretty basic setup, and that didn't take us long to set that up, so it was quite straightforward in setting it up. But to go back a step, we view our business as like a commodity business. We really feel that we're just like any other commodity business. We produce kilos of beef and wool and mutton. And like any commodity business, the name of the game for us is to try and drive productivity, produce more from less, constantly focusing on cost of production and spreading our overhead costs over as many kilos of produce that we can. So, and in chasing that productivity, we really do try and, wherever possible, use evidence-based decision making. So, and to do that, we like to record a lot of data. We like to try and measure everything we can so that we can make the right decisions. We're very keen on looking and following what the latest research and development says. We're interested in the science of farming, but and we do a lot of recording. But the challenge is, and Kevin alluded to it before, is that most of it is manually based, and it's slow and it's expensive, and it's not timely data that we're getting. And if, in our experience, if something takes a lot of effort to do and it's expensive, invariably we'd either don't do it or we do it really badly. So we have this real problem with we just don't have the automated data measuring tools in place. And further to that, and Kevin also alluded to it, a lot of the decisions we end up making, we start we're making subjective decisions. So we do a lot of driving around the property, do a lot of looking at livestock, and there'll be a few farmers in here that can relate to that. And you're constantly trying to make assessments as to how those animals look compared to last time you saw them, whether they're putting on weight, whether they're going backwards or not. And that's not good enough. So there's a lot of gut feel management, if you like. And it is a real challenge, particularly for the livestock industries, I believe. I think the cropping, there's far more technology in cropping, but livestock, we're certainly the poor cousin of the cropping industry in this regard. And part of that process in trying to automate this is to try and de-skill a lot of the jobs we do. Like any industry, it's hard to get people with skills certainly in our case, in livestock management skills. So wherever we can, through the use of whatever processes we can adopt, we like to de-skill jobs. And of course, at the end of the day, we want to get a return on our investment. Any new technology we introduce, we want a return on investment, and we're looking for a decent return on the investment we've got with the farm, obviously. So the immediate applications on our farm were, and this technology's been around for a while, obviously, is some of the physical assets that we have on the farm. We need to measure those, particularly water. We have about 120 water troughs on the property, and about a dozen water tanks that feed those, and that is most of that system is fed by one bore. And so we're quite vulnerable. We do have backup plans if that bore goes out. But on a 45-degree day in January, if there's a problem with the bore and the cattle are running up and down the fence and they're water stressed, that sense of rising panic that we've all experienced at occasions can be a bit overwhelming. So we need timely information on that. And clearly, the easy one is the water tank sensors, and we've got one of those, an LNX water tank sensor installed. And that was a dream to install, literally connected to the top of the tank, pressed a button, and it was live. Again, along the same lines, water flow sensors would be really, really handy. So, we have tanks. If we can measure how much water is flowing out of that tank, we know what a normal flow is. If we see an abnormal flow, then we can get straight onto it. We have about a dozen water pumps as well. It would be nice to be able to track what they're doing at any particular time. Electric fences, we'd have 15 electric fence units on the property. Again, the process of managing those is simply driving around, and it's probably one person for 3/4 of the day to go and check all those. So to have that information on the computer in the morning or on the mobile phone, I can look at it, see straight away if there's any problems. I mean, it's a big help. It changes things dramatically. And soil moisture sensors, soil temperature sensors, and rainfall sensors are clearly going to play a role for us as well. But putting those obvious applications to one side, what I think is going to be the game changer for us is livestock tags. So what we can do, and we haven't actually got any tags yet, but hoping to get some on some cattle soon. We believe that through those livestock tags, if we can track the location of the animal, the movement of the animal, its temperature, you can then get a real sense of the behavioural changes of that animal through the development of algorithms. They can look at the way the beast is moving around the paddock. If it's been stationary for too long, there clearly could be a problem. So to have that level of control is really quite extraordinary for us. Again, how do we manage that? We drive around. And of course, we've got a lot of stock and quite a big area, and we've only got, 3.5 employees. So invariably, when you get busy, you don't get around and check as often as you should. So to have that level of control and measurement, I suppose, would be a game changer for us. And it would give us an objective measurement of animal health. And clearly, the easy one for us straight away is we've got about 30 bulls. Bulls are problematic animals to manage. They bust through fences. They end up in the wrong paddock. To have a sensor on all the bulls to know exactly where they were at any one time will be our first trial, and that will be really useful. I just looked at one area that it could make a real difference, and the economic cost of internal parasites in sheep. MLA did a report in 2015 looking at putting together a priority list of endemic diseases in the red meat industry. Parasites in sheep comes in number 2, and they estimate it costs the industry $436 million a year in lost production. And just this is an issue close to my heart because we run merino sheep, and if anyone had anything to do with merino sheep, they're an animal that's born to die, and they're really hard to manage. And parasites in a high rainfall area where we are is a real issue. So we would probably be more like up at this level here, the total loss per year if things don't go all that well. But just say we use the medium loss of $12.34 per head a year. If we could reduce that loss by 25% through the use of better data, having indicators, having algorithms telling us that the sheep's behaviour, or who knows where the sensor technology is going to go in 5-10 years' time. But if we could get the heads up early on those sort of issues, then that would, potentially with 18,000 sheep, we're looking at a $50,000 saving every year. So the investment for us in putting the tower up was, it was a no-brainer really. And I haven't done, I'm sure Kevin would have liked me to have done some ROI figures, but I haven't done them just because I think it is a no-brainer for us. So That just gives you one example of where the benefits, and there's a multitude of diseases that we deal with too. So, the only other area that I would want to touch on is, there's just some photos of the farm, but the other area is animal welfare. And the supply chain partners that we deal with are very keen, and they're getting more interested all the time about animal welfare. And we have quality control systems, we outline what we do, but if we were able to say, okay, this is what we say we're going to do, but this is actually what has happened in the sheep flock in terms of the performance of the animals, their animal health status over the last 12 months. They can then go to their customers and say, you know, we are ticking all the boxes and we know that this is being done because we've seen the data. So I think that's going to be another driver for this technology as well, the animal welfare. So I think we're going to have a panel session in a moment. So thanks for the opportunity, and it's been a great ride, Christopher, and let's keep it going.
Okay.